Hi, this is another Zoom interview for the Great Rubino. I am here with Ami Baran. Ami is the commissioner. Is that the correct term?
Nah, I'm the CEO, the executive director.
All right, executive director of Team Israel softball. So you might have heard Team Israel baseball, but let me tell you, there's just as good of a team playing over on the women's side for softball. And Ami's going to tell us a little bit about that story. But Ami, first, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved with Team Israel softball and making Aliyah.
Right. So I was born in Chicago. Andrew Baran. Ami. They say Ami Baran in Hebrew. So that's different. At the age of 14, I made Aliyah to Israel. First time I ever came to Israel when I was 6 years old after the Six-Day War. Fell in love, blah, blah, blah. I had parents there from the Holocaust. Father was a partisan. My mother followed him back to America after they finished the war. And so at the age of 13, 14, my cousin got killed in the Yom Kippur War. And I told my parents, well, I know Israel. I should go there instead of him. And I made Aliyah at the age of 14. Studied at a boarding school called Hadassim. It's what they used to have the youth immigration at the time. And we had a lot of youth immigration from America at the time. And that's it. I made the move. I became they didn't have baseball. I was a baseball player, so they didn't have baseball. So I threw oranges. And they caught oranges, and they turned me into the Israeli champion of javelin throw. So I was the Israeli champion for javelin throw for, I don't know, till I was 30 years old. And until the Russians made Aliyah, and they brought some good Russian Jewish kids who were throwing farther than I was. But I was already head coach of the team, of the national team of track and field for throwing events. And I went into the Army as everybody else did. And then I also I'm a lawyer, an ex-police. I was a major in the Israeli police forces for many years. I'm in investigations and intelligence. And today I'm the head of softball in Israel, which is the CEO. We have Gershon Gillette, who's from Cincinnati. He's the president of softball. And track and field, president of Israel track and field today too. So it's all really done in a nutshell how we made that Aliyah and turned it into something else.
Is there a term for jack of all trades, be'ivrit, in Hebrew? Do you know that term?
I think they say Ami Baran.
Ami Baran, I love it.
I don't know. It could be. I'm just everywhere. It's just crazy.
All right. So tell us a little bit about Team Israel softball.
So Israel softball actually and baseball, because we're putting them into, like we said before in the past to a lot of people, it's under one. It's two different federations. And so softball started in 1979, and so did baseball. There was no baseball league for men, but there were fast pitch softball for men. And in the year 2000, we started a women's national team because Shaela Mike, who made Aliyah, she was a pitcher. So instead of having leagues or teams, we put a national team first, and then we built the leagues afterwards. And we started a whole national team. We represented Israel for the women and the men. We have men's fast pitch too. Represented Israel in European championships. In 1996, the men were in the World Championships in Midland, Michigan. And I think we've already had junior girls have already played 12 times in European championships. Representation is good. We have leagues in the north in Misgav. We have in Dimona. We have all over the country, women's, men's, junior kids playing the game of softball. And we decided in 2006 was the first time we tried to put together American Jewish kids to become Israeli players. It didn't work out all the way. We had some players, but in the end we moved on till now. And now we've created what we call, like the baseball did, players from all over the United States who've made Aliyah, and they became Israeli citizens, because in order to represent Israel, you have to be an Israeli citizen. So that's what we're doing right now. We had a great time this year. I'm sure you want to talk about that a little later.
So tell me a little bit about what's next and what are the goals for Team Israel softball. So it seems like you've built a great foundation and a great framework to begin to really build, which is true of both sides, the baseball side and the softball side. And Israel's growing in all these international sports. So what's the next level? How do we take Team Israel softball to the next level?
So perspective, as we're talking now for the women, although we do have the men too, and the men are also doing very well, by the way, in Europe. And we haven't really connected up to the world, but we're in good shape with the men's fast pitch. But with the women, what we did was last year, we went to the European Championships because in 2008, it was the last time that softball and baseball were in the Olympics. And now they were reinstated because there are 5 sports that are elected that can be into the country. They can decide what is more popular for them to have. And sports in Tokyo, of course, in Japan, baseball and softball are pretty big. So in order to get there, we had to do as the baseball did. We had to play the European Championships, and we had to take first place because only 1 team from Europe was allowed to go, which is bad in itself. It should be 3, but that's the way it is. They've cut down the numbers. We went to Europe. We played there. Our girls, I mean, a bunch of them from all over, like I said, you know, I could name a few of them like Darby Rosen, Jamie Morgan, you know, Olivia Gott. They're from all over the United States. T. Statman in Arizona, and pitchers like, you know, Foreman. And it was really great to have everybody there. But in the end, what happened was you had to get up to the brackets. So we had to get to the first round robin, and we lost to Spain by 1 run in the last inning. And that prevented us from going up to the second round robin of the high level ones, were the 9 teams that were going to go up. And then it would be 6 that would go for the Olympic qualifier in the end 3 weeks later. We didn't make it. We took 9th place at the European Championships after for years being number 16 and 17. This helped us. We did have 3 Israeli girls who play on the team, play there also. And so that was then. Now Olympics is out. We're not in the Olympics this time. 2024, there won't be Olympics. 2028, LA Olympics, they should be back, baseball and softball. But we do have World Championships. And the most important part, we do have the World Games that will be in 2022 in Birmingham, Alabama. And what's happening now is that the 2021 European Championships will be the qualifier for the World Games. And that's what we're shooting for now. We want to bring Team Israel to the World Games in Birmingham, Alabama. We have an organization in Israel called the Ayelet Organization, which is the non-profit, not Olympic sports committee. And we belong to them because we won't be in the Olympics in 2024. They're working hard to raise funds to help us get this going. And our target now is to win the European Championships next year in Friuli, Italy. And from that point on, go to the World Games in 2022. And by the way, in 2022, there's another European Championship, which will be for the World Championships in 2023. So we have a long time to really move forward.
Wonderful. Well, I wish you a ton of luck. You told me you live somewhere in Israel. Remind me, because I've never been. I've traveled that country numerous times, and I don't believe I've ever been to your city. So tell people where you are right now, because I know it's New York in the background, but that is a picture.
Yeah, it's just pictures, not the window. So I live in a place called Mushav Ma'or, which is, by the way, one of our hubs for softball. And by the way, the JNF actually helped us raise funds to build our first field here. We have I have a field right outside my door here. We built it. We've created a great project. It was a family from Philadelphia that actually helped with this fundraising for it. We got lights. We play night games. And it's also, by the way, it's a multi-purpose field. So I live in Mushav Ma'or. It's between Netanya and Hadera. My kids have grown up here. It's a nice place. It's a big house. Usually people always think about Israel and the buildings. We live outside. In my backyard, I actually have a net for batting cage with a pitching machine. So
sounds like you built your dream at the age of 14. Most of it, I'm 38. I'm not even close to building that dream. So
I hope everybody has their dreams and everything goes well, and I hope everybody stay healthy and everything because of
and plug to people. If you want to help, where can they donate if they want to help the team grow? And where is there a website or is there a donation?
So we're working on the website, but in general, we will have something coming out. We do have our website will be up pretty soon again, but we did do everything through, again, either JNS or PEF, that we get our money and people receive their tax deductible receipts for any donations that we can get, and looking to find ways. And if anybody's out there who wants to help us figure ways that we can raise funds for these girls to be able to go to the European Championships, to be able to go to World Games, I'll be really appreciative from everyone who can do that with us.
All right, wonderful. Ami, great speaking to you. Thanks for the time. And people look out for Team Israel softball. We're excited to see you.
Thank you very much.